and welcome back to GaonaLive with the amazing Shanti Lo. We just spoke about your travels, but now I think, many a times when somebody has had the kind of fortune that you just mentioned, we tend to assume you've had it easy. Like, you've had an easy life. You spoke about, your dad getting you a band when you're only 9 and that kind of thing, and you've traveled the world. So it's like, have you experienced any challenges?
I don't particularly mind when that's the general assumption, because we are partially responsible for that as the artists. The brand that you mentioned before. Mm-hmm. So that if you're selling this brand that seems unreachable and demigod-like, you almost seem inaccessible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you're inaccessible, it means that you have it all. But the reality of it is that you still have to go back home and be by yourself, and you still have a family to go to, and you still have to live and survive, and you still need the same needs that the basic human being needs to survive. You need to get by, you need to put food on the table, and that has been a challenge when you're trying to reach out for a dream, if you have one, which you should.
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example. The first time I traveled to Europe, even though it was an invitation by the Stockholm Gay Pride, I had to pay my way up there. Mm-hmm. And thank God I had made a little bit of money, but then I had to take my crew. And for what? For nothing. Mm-hmm. But what that did bring about was the Botswana Swedish Jazz Exchange, and a long-running project that saw other musicians from this country following suit in that same path that I had pioneered. And that is therefore now the most fulfilling thing about doing what I do. Yes, money will always be a challenge. We do not get remunerated as we should as artists and performers in our country. But you know what? Seeing that my very first salary, not very many years ago, maybe a good 15 years ago, was 50 pula. I think that we have really taken strides in terms of growth. Yeah. And I have hope. I have hope because I know that whoever comes after me will have it better than I did. And because I'm all about building an industry, and I'm all about making it easier for the next person, for our children, then that is the biggest gift that we could give to them. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Shanti, something else that I'd like us to touch on is the fact that you're openly gay.
Yes.
And yes, I think coming from a country such as Botswana, have you found that a challenge? I remember somebody asked you, I even forgot what the question was a couple of days ago, on our road trip, and you're like, you know what, I don't care. Like, call me whatever you want to call me, I don't care. Was it easy getting to that point where you can comfortably say, I am content within myself and I don't care what your opinion is?
It's difficult to get there. I think everybody will tell you that there are a lot of challenges surrounding just sexuality. As a culture, as a people here in Botswana, we have been brought up in a culture that promotes rather much to our detriment. To a certain degree, secrecy, just certain things are too taboo to talk about. Mm-hmm. But you see, we've reached an age where we need to start talking openly because it is for the good of our survival that we should. So no, it has not been hard. I've had my fair share of troubles And to some degree, I'm still troubled because a lot of it will manifest in your adult life as well. But I pray, and I stay humble, and I learn, and I do have a zest for life. And if you want to live, you will always find a way to survive. When I compare myself with, and I'll use this word very loosely, with the average person who's perhaps not as privileged in status as I am in our society, I'm better off. And I think the message that I want to really take out there, and before I even get there, let me explain why. I had a 12-minute excerpt of an interview that I did for Swedish television a few years ago, shown on the GaonaLive Lo Film Festival. And as we were preparing for the showing, I got to work a little bit with the GaonaLive Lo, and I realized just how badly people have it in my position, in my world, at grassroots level. Some of the things that happen to these people are painful and excruciating. And I consider myself lucky in that sense that I've never been exposed because of my upbringing and because of what I do and where I've found myself now. But the message, therefore, that I want to take out there to people, anybody who leads an alternative lifestyle really, especially in the gay community, is that look out for each other. The reason why other people, other groups of people don't accept who you are is because you don't accept yourself. So that is in itself a process, and I'm not saying it is easy because we've been made to believe that it's wrong. So start to love yourself, then it's easier to love the next person. Then it's easier to convince the next person to love you.
Totally.
Do you understand what I mean? It's a domino effect.
I totally get you. Now, you had a short stint with My Star as a judge, but what I'd like to zone in on is, you being a judge of the Shine Talent Search, which is currently ongoing, the talent search for people who are going to be performing at the National Stadium at our 50th. How has that been? What does it mean to you to have such a role, in the selection of performers for our 50th independence celebration?
Now what an absolute honor it is for the powers that be to think that my opinion matters. I think I said this earlier on in the interview, but what a precious gift to be taking part in such a momentous time in our history. I am so proud, I am ecstatic. What I want is that as we celebrate, we should remember the people, the leaders, and just the ordinary people that have made it possible for us to be where we are today.
Absolutely.
And that we should celebrate it as such. That's all I can ask.
And as we wrap up our interview, what is your most significant item and why?
I have a few.
Yeah.
And I know I keep giving you these answers, but I do have a few. However, when I was preparing for this interview, I came across a bag that I stole from my mother.
Okay.
But it was a bag that I vividly remember her buying in 1995 in Zimbabwe. And I thought, wow, how fitting it is for me to bring it. I loved it very much that I had to steal it from her twice. And
you stole it, she found it, you stole it again.
I stole it back, and she just left me with it. And it's as old as my eldest nephew, and he's a big man now. And it also reminds me of the time when the industrious Zimbabwe was alive, and we went there to buy merchandise in the form of leather products, and it was flourishing. And it just, for me, serves as a reminder to say to ourselves that, look, we should be thankful and grateful for each moment that we have in this here peace in this country and stability. And I think a lot of people take it for granted, and that a lot of things that happen out there can also happen to us.
Exactly.
So we should keep in prayer and in constant gratitude to what we have. Do you understand that?
I want to see this bag.
This is the bag.
T-Dot, a bag from home.
It does not age. It's of course pure leather, no label, but I love it so much that I actually want to get it recreated in another color maybe, because I like it so much, and I like the fact that it's got longevity. I think the only thing that has been changed on this bag or reattached is probably the handle, because I carry around a lot of stuff. So yeah, pretty much.
Shanti, thank you so much for having spent time with me today. It's been amazing, and I mentioned you're one of my favorite people. I absolutely love you, and thank you for this time.
Beautiful show you have.
So profound, so much beautiful knowledge we got from Shanti Lo today. I will not say anything more. Let's just leave it right there. This is GaonaLive. Catch you next. And welcome.